Well, hi, here we are again. Just so you know, this part is going to run a little bit longer than most of them do, and I want you to know that ahead of time. I got a little bit wordy, which is a trait of mine, and it's going to run a little bit long because I felt like I really did need to keep most of it in there. I tried to trim it down as much as I could, but this one is going to be a little long. Sorry about that. Thank you. Now we're on part 6, tip number 29. I touched on this a little bit in part 5, I believe, and I need to really push it a little bit harder. One thing you have to be able to do when you go to Thailand or any other country is that you need to learn to respect their culture. Their culture is very likely going to be different from yours, and you're going to have to just accept that fact. You're not there to change them. You're there to enjoy their culture. You should do nothing but that. Don't try to westernize the Thai people or whatever country you're in. Don't try to make them into what you're used to. The whole idea of a vacation or a holiday is to go somewhere else, to experience somewhere else that most likely has a different culture than yours, and you need to really get that in your head. You're going to see things, you're going to hear things that are very different from what you're used to. And if you disagree with it, if you don't like it, then you need to learn real quickly, either learn to accept it or move on, go somewhere else. Your job is not to change them. Please respect the people, respect their way of life, respect their culture, and it will go a long way to making your vacation a much more pleasant one. You just have to accept some things, whether you disagree with them or not. You don't have to participate, but you do have to respect that their culture is different. So please do that, and I really wanted to hammer that home. Okay, now we go to tip number 30. This involves drinking while you're in Thailand. Of course, a lot of people drink while they're over there. There's no doubt about it. But like anywhere you are, doesn't matter whether you're in your hometown, whether you're across the world, no matter what, drink responsibly. It's really sad to see you sitting there and you're having whatever you're drinking and see some tourist just bombed out of his gourd, getting loud, cussing people out, making rude gestures, everything else. It's just really sad to see. And most of the people who do that would not even consider acting like that if they were sober. So kind of try to keep in mind. Have a good time over there, but, well, number one, you want to remember it. Number two, you don't want to get in trouble. And that's a real good time where you get in trouble over there. Specifically driving. If you're going to rent a car or rent a scooter, you just absolutely do not want to drive after you have been drinking. Thailand is cracking down on that because of all the accidents they have in the country, and a lot of them are alcohol related. So they're really cracking down on drinking and driving. You absolutely do not want to do that, because not only you get a fine, you're probably going to jail over it. Again, that's not what you want to do. So be very careful. If you're going to go out for a night of drinking, take a taxi, a bike taxi, a bot bus, anything except getting on the road when you've been drinking. Like so many of these things, it's really common sense. Use your head. Speaking of common sense, that is tip number 31. And most of the things you have listened to that I'm giving some tips on, most of them are common sense. That if you would sit back and think about it, you'd go, yeah, I ought to do that, or no, I should not do that. So common sense is really going to come into a lot of what you do while you're over there. As long as you use your head and use your common sense, generally you will get by. Yeah, there are differences in the culture, and in those cases, you need to know those differences, and I hope I'm helping a little bit on that. But for general purpose, if you use common sense, you'll get by real well over there. Tip number 32, and it's not really a tip as much as it is just kind of a thing for you to think about as you're planning your trip. There's a saying that goes that trips are planned, adventures are not planned. And that's very true, and it goes back to my tip earlier of saying to be flexible. You go there and you're going to see things that you didn't realize were there, or you're going to hear about them. People you meet there will tell you about them. You don't want to get back from your vacation and go, oh, I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd done that. Leave yourself open. Don't stick to that plan entirely. Of course, plans are good. I'm not saying to not make out plans on what you want to do, but you want to be able to modify those plans fairly often, because you're going to have experiences. As a first-timer in Thailand, I will guarantee you will have opportunities come up that you didn't realize were there. If possible, take an extra half a day, take an extra day, go there, see it, experience it. That's what it's all about. You're going there to have, at least hopefully like me, the experience maybe of a lifetime. Don't just stick to your schedule every second. There was an old movie that said if it's Tuesday, this must be Rome, I believe was the name of it. You don't want it to be that way to where, yeah, okay, Wednesday I'm going to go here, Thursday there. Just remember, adventures are not planned. Adventures just happen. Tip number 33 is maybe not the one that you want to hear, but it is something you need to hear. If you go to a lot of the tourist spots, you go to Walking Street or you go to Nana District, just basically any place in Thailand that has been there for decades, you're going to have some smells that you either haven't smelled before or wish you haven't smelled before. They can get pretty strong sometimes. Thailand has had a real boom in the last 50 years, and their infrastructure has a hard time keeping up with it. Their sewage systems, just like I've talked about when I talked about the bum guns, their sewage systems are very much like the early 20th century or late 19th century in the U.S. So you're going to have open sewers, maybe just with a grate on top of it. Number one, watch, because the grate might be missing, so watch where you're walking. You're going to pass by these and you're going to get a whiff of smells that you don't care for. You just have to live for that. There's nothing can be done about it. They are constantly trying to improve their infrastructure, but seriously, it's a monumental job. Be aware that that's going to happen. If you stop, say at a street vendor to eat or something like that, and you get a whiff of these smells, you probably ought to go to another vendor, or at least if you get your food, go somewhere else to eat it. Just don't be surprised when that happens, because it is going to happen no matter what you do over there. All right, we are on number 34, and that has to do with hotel safes. You're going to need a place that you can put valuables. You don't want to take a lot of valuables with you. Don't take big diamond rings and fancy watches and all like that. It's just not a good idea. I know people do it. I know you may do it. But it's not a good idea, because you do have to have a place to keep them that's safe. A hotel safe in Thailand, or I would assume probably any tourist spot you go to, anywhere you go in the world, they're going to have a safe, and more than likely it's going to be an electronic safe where you got to type in 4 numbers. That is not the safest thing in the world. Number one, the hotel management has to have a way to get into that safe. If you lock it up, because you can set your own numbers before you shut it, you can change the numbers. It's not like the number stays the same. But if you lock it up and then you leave it locked up, they have to have a way to get into that safe. So they have a code that will get into that safe. So that means you put your money, you put your jewelry, you put your valuables in that safe. There is somebody that can get in there with the code. You need to keep that in mind. The problem is you got a choice. Put it in the safe, which is not 100% safe, or carry it with you, which is not 100% safe either. This is part of being on a holiday, being on vacation in a country that you're not familiar with. It's just a part of life. There's a lot of people that say never use a safe. Some of the safes are down by reception. Some of them are in the room. It's just, you've got to understand that nothing is 100% safe. So be wise. Don't carry a lot of cash, a lot of valuable jewelry, valuable cameras and all. Don't expect to leave them in the safe and be 100% safe. There are more than one ways to get into that safe too. There are all kinds of things that a thief can do to get into that safe. So you're not safe in that respect either. But don't just be totally paranoid about it. It's just life. That's part of being on vacation, being on holiday. But I will say about Thailand, I never, ever at one time felt unsafe anywhere that I was. I was in dark alleys. I was in literally dirt roads with very little lighting. I never felt unsafe whatsoever. So I'm not trying to scare you. Use the hotel safe, put your stuff in it, but like anything else, you have to be of the mindset, what would I do if everything in that safe disappeared? Just like you have to think, what would I do if somebody robbed me and I lost everything I've got on me? Things like that can happen anywhere in the world. Thailand is no exception there. It can happen. It's just extremely unlikely if you use your head. There are places in Thailand, particularly like in Bangkok, that you just don't go. It's just not a good idea to go there. And you can Google that. You can look for YouTube videos and probably find plenty on that. But you're there as a tourist, you're probably going to go to tourist attractions. They're very safe. Of course, there's scammers there that'll try to sell you a Rolex watch for $100. It's not a Rolex, folks. All there is to it, you know it, they know it. Just expect that it's going to happen. You get a lot of people together on a holiday with money to spend. There's going to be people there that try to take that money from you. Not knock you over the head to get it, but they will try to figure out every way they can to take it from you. So use the safe, use a money belt, just be careful. Don't sit there and be throwing money around, wearing all this fancy jewelry, and make yourself a target. Use the safe, don't be concerned about it, just be wise. I have, as always, run over again. This one's going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to ask you all a few questions. Besides the fact that I would like you to click on the like button, I'd like you to click on the subscribe button, I would like you to click on the bell. But I'm getting toward the end of this series, and I would like some input from y'all in the comments. What kinds of things would you like to know about from the perspective of a one-time visitor to Thailand? I can't give you advice on buying houses or buying cars or living there, retiring there, but if there's something that you as a newbie would like to know about, please leave it in the comments. I do read the comments. Please leave it there, and I'll try to make a video on some of those suggestions if I have the knowledge. So I would appreciate it if you would do that. So I am going to let you go on this one, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.